Anti-Semitism is becoming all too familiar, unfortunately. And now an alarming report finds it's even soaring in U.S. medicine. It says this: medicine has eagerly adopted the same type of identity politics that have come to define the policies, sensibilities, and ideologies of Ivy League universities. Indeed, medical training and practice is fertile ground for anti-Semitism to flourish. Dr. Stanley Goldfarb is the board chair of Do No Harm. This is a group that published the report, and he joins us now. Doctor, is this a surprise to you, or did you know that this existed somewhat?
Well, no, it was a surprise, Dana. It's very good to be with you today. It is a surprise and very disturbing and very unfortunate. The outpouring of anti-Semitism after October 7th has been shocking, frankly, and there have been physicians who have been very overt about this, spoken out on television, have ripped down posters of the unfortunate hostages in Gaza, and have expressed themselves, particularly on X, you know, the former Twitter app, about just celebrating the horrible actions of October 7th. It was very shocking and very surprising.
You write that anti-Semitism in medicine is a problem that can be explained by its enthusiasm for and adoption of diversity, equity, and inclusion policies?
Yes, I think that's right. I think this is the natural result of so-called identity politics, or another way of thinking about the diversity activities, which focus on people's identities as opposed to their individual characteristics. I think this represents the end result of that, where once you start identifying people as oppressors or oppressed, and the Israelis have been identified as white oppressors somehow, even though 40% of Israelis actually have their origin in the Middle East and the countries from which they were expelled several years ago. I think this is the natural result of it. We need to view our patients and our friends and our colleagues as individuals and not as members of some identity group simply because of skin color or some other immutable characteristic.
Could you explain what Do No Harm, your group, does? And you say that you have observed medical institutions that have had this anti-Semitism. You say that doctors have been openly doing that. Has anyone been punished?
Well, that's a good question. I think some people have been fired. A few individuals, one at NYU Langone Medical Center, another down in Florida at a GI center was fired from their jobs. But what we found, and when I say we, I'm talking about Ian Kingsbury and Jay Green, my colleagues who wrote this report, they found that 71% of medical associations and 45% of medical schools after the Russian invasion of Ukraine spoke out in favor of the Ukrainian people and concern for their welfare. On the other hand, after October 7th, 11% of medical associations and only 3% of medical schools had anything to say about concern about the Israelis. And this just points out that you know, there's a systematic effect here, as well as the individuals who express their disdain for Jewish people and happiness over the horrible atrocities of October 7th.
One more question. The headline in the New York Post, the piece that was written, is "Watch out, anti-Semitism is soaring in U.S. medicine," and says that every Jewish patient has good reason to worry about the anti-Semitism that's increasingly ingrained in American healthcare. If medical institutions don't rid themselves of this hateful bias, then policymakers must. Do you believe that there is real concern for the safety of Jewish patients?
Absolutely. You know, and I've heard this from several colleagues and several friends. If someone is willing to speak out and speak with great glee about the terrible atrocities of October 7th, then you have to worry what their value system really is and how they really are honoring their Hippocratic oath. So I think it is a real issue, and I hope that the institutions whose people have spoken out in favor of these horrible atrocities are brought to task about this.
So if you work in medicine or in hospitals, anywhere, you can report anonymously the problem to Do No Harm, and Do No Harm looks into it and sees if they can get to a resolution, even sometimes filing lawsuits. Thank you, Dr. Stanley Goldfarb. Appreciate you being on today.
Thanks, Dana. Thanks very much.
Well. I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.